Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today. We're going to talk today about how to revive a struggling business. That's going to be key here, is how to revive a struggling business. Have you ever had a time in your own business where you're just struggling, you don't know what to do, you don't know which way you're going to go, you're like, oh my God, what do I do? And there's a lot of shows out there about this kind of thing, how to revive struggling businesses. I've worked in the service-based industry for many years. We've owned two plumbing companies, a restoration company, a carpet cleaning company, junk removal company, handyman company, different things that we've owned personally. And then of course, other things that we've done outside of that from real estate. But I do have one thing to say is that some businesses are going to struggle. And I think almost every business will struggle at some point. And for you to figure out how to revive it, I think is going to be very smart for you to figure this out. And the reason I say that is because when it's struggling, you need to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it to bring it back. That's going to be key. You want to make sure you can bring it back. You don't want to just sit there living in the struggle, because the struggle is going to flip and suck. It's just going to suck beyond anything you've ever imagined. So I'm going to share 4 things with you that I do, that I would do with any business, no matter what it is. But I also start and build them this way for a very purpose. So we try to eliminate the struggle before the struggle ever happens. When COVID hit, it did create a struggle. We lost $80,000 in 2 weeks as a small business, and it was a killer. And I know many more businesses lost so much more money than what I lost. But I can tell you, for any kind of business who lost money during that time, the struggle was real. It was beyond anything they probably had ever prepared for, had ever imagined, and it was just challenging. And many businesses went out of business because there was just nothing they could do. They didn't evolve, or they just were just too far down in the hole. They just couldn't bring it back up. But I guarantee you, most of those people who are in business, they probably started another one. I mean, that's the cool thing about being in business. Once you figure this out, you can keep going. You can figure this out, keep going once you figure out how to start and build a business. So I'm very proud of all of you for doing that. If you did give up due to just circumstances and you had to close that business, just keep on going. I know you can do it again. Very proud of you. All right, so number 1, eliminate and manage expenses. I can't tell you enough how important this is. Eliminate and manage expenses. If all you do is spend the money that comes into your business, I promise you'll be out of business pretty soon. It's going to be a short-lived business. You need to eliminate all the things you don't have to have. I've always said, if you don't have to have it, don't buy it. Don't get it. Don't get things you don't have to have just because somebody else has it, or it's a shiny object syndrome, or because the best of the best has this. Don't do it. If you can't afford it and you can't justify it to where it's going to make you money, you don't need it. Eliminate those expenses, because you want to be able to manage your expenses in a way where it allows you the opportunity very quickly to shut things down, close things down, wherein if you are struggling or things are tight, things are slow, that's important. Don't buy things that you don't need. I mean, how many times can I say this to somebody? Because people will say, well, I got to have this and I have to have this and I have to have this. No, you never had to have those things. And especially these people with buying softwares. Well, I got to have this software for my service business with this software. I'm like, well, can you do it right now just with a Google Calendar, where it doesn't require you to have specific software? Can you do it right now with just QuickBooks, maybe QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks, desktop version, or something where you don't have to buy an expensive software where you're on a contract for a year as a CRM? If you can do those things, that will eliminate a lot of expenses. I promise you'll be a much happier person, because it's going to allow you to be able to make sure that your expenses are managed and they're lower. So I'm going to harp on this a little bit. Manage your expenses and eliminate those things you don't have to have. So write down on a piece of paper everything that you're spending money on, and look at every single one of them and ask yourself, do I have to have this? And if you don't have to have that, then get rid of it. Another thing, you make sure, look at all your subscriptions. Sometimes people, they have so many subscriptions and they don't even realize that they're spending maybe $200, $300, $400 a month on subscriptions that they didn't realize they had. Kill those subscriptions that you don't have to have. Manage those expenses and stop spending the money just because it came in. Keep money in the business. One of the ways we always do is we took a salary for the owner. We took a draw as needed, but we never just took the money just because. We always wanted to make sure there was money to make sure the business would operate. We always paid ourselves first, but we always made sure there was money that the business could operate. We never took it all. That was stupid if you did that. So don't do that. Okay, number 2, charge more for your services or products. The reason I say charge more for your services or products, because sometimes people don't charge enough. I was working with a guy and he was losing $20,000 a month, and he was telling me that. And I asked him how much he's charging, told me how much he's charging. I asked him why. He said that's the industry standard. But what he realized is he was not accounting for a lot of different things and factors in regards to what he was charging. So he had to come up with a whole new idea as to how he was going to charge more money. Now, we use a software for service businesses that we use. We just plug in all your expenses, plug in all your numbers, and it tells you, if you're a service-based business, how much you should be charging per hour for your time when you're out on a job. And it includes all the efficiencies, inefficiencies, overhead, taxes. It includes all those things. So, but I had to learn these things the hard way by buying this software that I use to do this with. Then we had it created for ourselves by another CPA just for our own self. But the key here is, if you could charge more for your services, it's going to change everything. Let's say you're doing, $100,000 a year, and you just, which is a low amount for a business, for some businesses, and you charge 10% more, that's another $10,000 a year in your pocket. But let's say you eliminate expenses and you eliminated, 5%, that's another $5,000 in your pocket. So we've eliminated 5% of expenses. We've added 10%, charge. And no, we're looking at maybe we can add additional services, products, packages, things like that as well. So the goal is, how can you get your numbers up is going to be the key. Is lower your expenses by getting rid of things that you don't have to have. Eliminate those things you don't have to have, especially when crunch time. Crunch time is going to come, I promise you. It is going to come in your business without fail. It's going to hit you hard one day. You'll be like, what the hell? What the hell just happened? I mean, it's going to be like slapped upside the head. Never saw it coming. But the point is, it's going to come. So make sure you eliminate and manage those expenses, and also charge more for your services or products. See what you can charge for your services or your products, and make sure you're charging what you should be charging based on your personal actual cost of doing business. Many people have no idea what their actual cost of doing business is. When we sit down with someone and we look at all their different finances and we go through their whole budget of expenses, they're shocked. They're like, holy shit, I had no idea we were spending this much money. It's going to make a huge difference for you if you understand what it is you're spending money on and how much it is, and maybe what you can eliminate and maybe what you can fix and would charge more on, just to make sure you cover your expenses. Because you don't want to just be a break-even company. You want to be a profit-driven company. You want to be a company that is driven by profits. Don't be afraid to be more expensive, because people are still going to pay for your services. Maybe not everybody, but that's okay. Not everybody's your client. So make sure you understand your expenses, charge more if necessary based on your cost of doing business, and raise the prices of your products as well. And it's okay to do those things. Don't be afraid to raise them based on the profits that you want to see in your business. You deserve that. Okay, number 3 is lead generation. You need leads. Bottom line is this: you need leads. You need leads so bad to make your business work. Sales can solve almost every problem in a business. If you're in a business and your business is struggling, money's being mismanaged, you're not charging enough, but you have a volume of sales, well, that can really pull you out of a giant hole. But it doesn't do you any good, just a volume of sales if you're not going to fix 1 or 2, which is eliminate expenses and charge more for your services at the appropriate amount. But sales is going to change everything. So getting leads is going to be key for you to do more in your business, because sometimes you just don't have enough leads coming in. I was working with another company, and their biggest problem is they didn't have enough leads. They didn't have enough leads coming into their business. So because they didn't have enough leads, they weren't able to keep their employees busy enough, because they were a service-based business. They weren't able to keep their employees busy enough, and therefore they weren't working. They're just still paying guys to sit there, but not making any money. So the key is figuring out how to get more leads for your specific business. If you're in a service-based industry, one thing I'm always going to say is start with social media, start with your website, start with your phone calls, start with networking. There's so many ways you can go. We can do a whole video just on generating leads for your business. So if you want me to do a video on this, just put it in the comments that you'd like me to do a video on just generating leads for your business, because we can definitely help you with that. I mean, I've spent millions of dollars on advertising over the years on my own businesses. So we know we can do this for sure. But the point is, you need more leads sometimes to have a volume of leads. But if you have more leads at a higher price, then all of a sudden you're making a lot more money. It really makes a big difference when your business is struggling. But make sure that your client relationship is an extraordinary one, not one that's poor, not one that's bad, because you know yourself what it's like to have a relationship. When you go somewhere, you buy something, you buy a product, buy a service, and it's just, the experience is horrible. They just suck. They just suck at what they're doing. They make no effort to make you feel welcome. They make no effort to make you feel like it was a good experience. It's just a bad overall experience. So you know what that's like. So don't be that person. I went into a place who sold mailboxes, like, you know, sort of like the post office, but they sell mailboxes in like a strip mall. The guy was just an asshole. I mean, he was just straight up an asshole. I mean, I couldn't put it any other way. He was unfriendly, uncaring, not nice, just straight up an ass. I mean, seriously. And I thought about that. I thought, well, if this is how you treat all your people when they walk in, your customers, you're not going to be in business very long. And guess what? 6 months later, he was out of business. And I can assure you why, because he did not care about the business to client relationship. Where me in business, I love the clients, because I realize that the clients are your number one asset. The clients are going to be that one thing that keep you paying your bills, because nobody else pays your bills. The client who pays you money is who pays your bills. They've given you the money. You don't need more money. You need more people who have more money. And then therefore you can, it's a process. Then you can have your business to be revived. You look at all the different things like bar rescue, you know, John Tapper will go in and he'll revive a business, and he may revive it only by 10 to 15% in margins, maybe 20 to 30% in margins. But the point is the number one thing he looks at is, how are people treated? What's it like? What's the process? What are the systems? What are the things that they're doing inside the business that makes a big difference on the bottom line? If you're not doing something for yourself to make sure your business is flowing in the right direction, then don't get the leads. If all you're going to do is shit on your leads, then don't get them. Because at the end of the day, your customers are so important to your business. They really are. Your employees are so important to your business. And it's your job to train your employees as to how you want your clients treated. We went into a really nice restaurant here locally, and it was horrible. I was expecting so much more for a high-end restaurant. The hostess, there was two of them back there. Neither one looked at us. My wife and I stood there, and then neither one looked at the other people that were standing there. They just kept their heads down the whole time, talking to each other. And it was like, do you not see that we're here? How about, hey, welcome. We're so glad you're here tonight. Just give us 1 second. We'll get you guys a table. Something that to make it feel like, okay, great. Then when we got our seat, holy cow, it was like the hostess must have become the waiter, because his service was equally as bad. That was a problem. So the point is, I'm telling you this, when you get more leads, make sure you're making the most of those leads, and make sure it's not a transactional experience. Make sure it's a great experience with that customer. Make sure you want it to be something that's so cool, so good, so fun, that they love you so much that they want to tell everybody about you. So that's important. Get the leads, and we can teach you how to get all the leads in the world. But if you can't manage them correctly, answer the phone, deal with them correctly, you're just going to be wasting your time. All right. So number 4, implementing what you know should be done. There's a great book called Failure to Implement, written by Howard Partridge. I actually have that here in my office here, right here. Look at that, Failure to Implement by Howard Partridge. So this, you know, he talks a lot about the biggest problem people have in business is they don't implement. They don't implement what they know they should be doing. They don't do the things they know they should be doing. If you know you should be eliminating expenses, well, why aren't you doing it? If you know you should be charging more, figuring out your cost of doing business, and raising your prices, why aren't you doing it? If you know you should be generating more leads, focusing on making sure leads are coming into your business, why aren't you doing it? So we look at implementation. If you're not implementing, well, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle over and over and over and over, because you're not doing those things that you know should be done. And that's going to be the biggest problem I think most people have in business, is they fail to implement. But why do they fail to implement? Let's talk about that. I think they fail to implement because they're scared. They're scared, but what are they scared of? They're scared of getting it wrong, because that right there can really hold you back. You've made so many decisions and that were wrong, so you're scared of making another decision because you're scared you're going to get it wrong again. So therefore, you don't make a decision. But remember, not making a decision is making a decision, but not in a positive way. You have to make a decision to go in the right direction. And the right direction sometimes is just you making the decision to do something different, to do something better, to implement what you know you should be doing, to put procedures in place and systems in place. If you know you should be doing all these things, then why aren't you doing it? Ask yourself that, why have I not done more to make my business better than what it is today? Because implementation is going to be the number one thing you're going to have to learn. Learn how to delegate things out to other people, and it helps you to implement more things more quickly. Don't feel like you have to do it all on your own, because trying to do it all on your own, sometimes you just don't have enough time to implement everything. But if you have a team of people, oh my God, it's so much easier to have a team. And you can have them implement this person implement this, and it just makes all the difference in the world for you. It really changes the whole dynamic of your implementation process. But if you fail to implement, I promise you this, your business is never going to grow. If you don't do at least the 3 things up top that I just talked about, which is eliminate your expenses and manage them, and charge more for your services and our products, lead generation, make sure you're getting enough leads coming in to cover your expenses and costs. And the part of that is knowing how much money do I make off of each customer? What's my average ticket look like? What's my average service ticket look like? And that's going to give you an idea of how many clients you're going to need to cover your expenses. It's a great way to look at it. Well, if I'm only making $500 per client, and I have $1,000 expenses, then I would need 2 clients and would cover my expenses for that, if that's what I'm doing. If you make profitable, then you can add another one, then another one, then another one. But the point is to know your expenses, know your cost. And if you don't know these things, go to your CPA. If you have someone who does your taxes, just go to your CPA. Your CPA can really help you make a huge difference in regards to how you manage your expenses. They can really help you. This is what they do every single day. So just go to them. Once again, my name is Eric Rios. Thanks guys for watching. We really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you guys on the next video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button and just share this video if you thought it was of value. We can't wait to see you in the next one. Okay, guys, have a great day.